And it's like, Paige is already being treated like she's an MVP.
Paige Bueckers is officially your 2025 first overall pick in the WNBA draft, fresh off an NCAA championship with UConn, and honestly, the WNBA couldn't have asked for a better storyline heading into this season. But of course, the media just couldn't resist diving headfirst into complete delusion. They're bending over backwards, doing all kinds of mental gymnastics, desperately trying to convince fans that Paige is about to be the next Caitlin Clark, or at least put her on the same level. Seriously, wait until you hear some of the ridiculous takes they're coming up with. It's wild. But I've got a quick message for anyone out there who seriously thinks Paige is about to become Caitlin Clark 2.0.
A reality is coming.
If you're expecting Paige Bueckers to come in and instantly replicate Caitlin Clark's impact, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Because behind closed doors, WNBA general managers are already talking about what's actually going to happen. They're seeing the truth clearly. And let me tell you, it's not the fantasy the media is selling. And guess what? I've got the receipts to back it up. It's time to dive deep, expose the truth, and put this narrative to bed once and for all. Make sure you watch until the end, though, because there is actually one player coming up who could bring something genuinely different to the table. Someone who could draw in even more fans than Paige ever could. But first, hit that like button if you're tired of the media playing these games.
With the first pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Dallas Wings select Paige Bueckers, University of Connecticut.
So Paige Bueckers just went first overall in the WNBA draft, and naturally, with the league hungry to keep growing and make it about more than just one player, people are pushing the idea that she's about to become the next Caitlin Clark, or at least that she should be. But honestly, this hype train didn't just start rolling today, it's been building since March Madness. Ever since Paige dropped that impressive 40-piece in the Sweet 16, the comparisons to Caitlin Clark have been coming in fast and furious. Now, shutting down these comparisons is pretty straightforward, like Mick did perfectly right here.
If you want to say, oh, she had 40 points, yeah, Caitlin's done it like 3 times. And by the way, in 2 of those 3 games, Caitlin also had double-digit assists. By the way, all in wins, all in Elite 8 or Final 4 games, when Paige's was in a Sweet 16 game.
But again, there's this weird inverse relationship the media constantly tries to force between Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark. They're either artificially inflating Paige or deliberately trying to chip away at Caitlin to make Paige look better. For instance, we saw this clearly in that recent Guardian article, which essentially argued the reason Paige isn't getting the Caitlin Clark treatment isn't because they're 2 completely different types of players, which I'll get into in a bit, but because Paige is more vocal about social activism, something they claim Caitlin's fans supposedly don't appreciate. Then you have Nancy Armour from USA Today, describing Paige Bueckers as a transformative player similar to Caitlin, and lecturing Caitlin's fans to not elevate Caitlin by tearing others down, insisting that credit must always be shared. Yet it's deeply ironic because those same media voices are the ones who consistently try to diminish Caitlin to lift other players. I've covered in previous videos the countless times Caitlin's fans were unfairly criticized and the repeated suggestion that Caitlin only gets special treatment because of her race. It's insulting and flat out false. And then you get moments like ESPN casually comparing Paige's draft viewership numbers to the 2023 draft, completely skipping over 2024, the Caitlin Clark draft.
Most viewed WNBA draft of all time with an average of 1.25 million viewers with a peak of 1.46 million viewers, up 119% versus 2023. And I know what the question may be, 2023, 2020. Well, Ben, just out of curiosity, because we're all curious around here, right? We all want to be well-informed. What is it compared to the 2024 draft? Well, thank you guys for asking. I appreciate that. Here we go. It's down 49%.
Why on earth would ESPN conveniently leave out the record-breaking 2024 numbers? Because they want Paige Bueckers to appear as transformative as Caitlin. And you can't create that illusion if you compare her directly against Caitlin's historically unprecedented impact. But behind closed doors, league insiders know exactly what's going on. Paige Bueckers is incredibly talented, no question, but she's not Caitlin Clark, not even close. In fact, a recent report was released featuring candid, behind-the-scenes conversations with WNBA general managers, and the message was crystal clear. They respect Paige Bueckers, they recognize her talent, but they know she's nowhere near Caitlin's level.
It's really hard to impact the game as a rookie. one GM said, "What Caitlyn did last year was so special and unique. Paige is a special player. I think she'll be a good player this year, but I'm not expecting a Caitlyn-like impact, and it's an unfair bar to set." Yes, obviously.
This shouldn't even be controversial. Anyone with eyes, and frankly, a functioning brain, can clearly see that Caitlin Clark is operating on a completely different level. She's simply on another planet in terms of her impact, star power, and ability to elevate women's basketball as a whole. No matter how hard some in the media or league might try to position Paige Bueckers as the next Caitlin, it's just not happening. Paige is talented, extremely talented, but she's not Caitlin Clark. And here's the thing. We don't even need to guess or speculate anymore. The numbers are already in, and they leave no doubt.
But with such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale. The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
This season, Caitlin Clark and her Indiana Fever are literally taking over your screens, appearing in an astonishing 41 out of 44 games on national TV or major streaming platforms. ESPN, ABC, CBS, you name it. Flip on your TV at almost any given moment, and chances are you'll see Caitlin Clark pulling up from deep and electrifying sold-out crowds. To put this into perspective, the next closest team in terms of national exposure is the Las Vegas Aces with 33 games. The New York Liberty, the reigning champions loaded with MVP-level talent, just 32. These are elite franchises stacked with star players and championship pedigree. Yet even with all that talent, networks made a clear, calculated decision. They chose Caitlin Clark. Let's take this even further. The Indiana Fever managed to sell out a 15,000-seat arena for a preseason exhibition game against the Brazilian national team. You heard that right, a preseason game. This game sold out faster than many NBA playoff matchups, and the excitement didn't stop there. It became so monumental that ESPN decided to broadcast it nationally, marking one of the first ever nationally televised WNBA preseason games. If that doesn't make Caitlin's impact crystal clear, nothing will. Need even more proof? Consider this. Multiple teams, including high-profile franchises like the Atlanta Dream, Chicago Sky, and Washington Mystics, literally moved their Fever home games into massive NBA arenas just to meet ticket demand. One player, Caitlin Clark, generated such an overwhelming ticket-buying frenzy that entire organizations had to restructure their venue logistics just to capitalize on her star power. But wait, it gets even more obvious. When you put Caitlin's impact side by side with Paige Bueckers, things become even clearer. Let's dive into that comparison right now and show you exactly why. Despite the media's desperate attempts to position Paige as the next Caitlin, there simply is no comparison.
So far, there's already statistical evidence, actual analytics, facts don't care about your feelings, showing that no, she is not moving the needle in women's sports or women's basketball nearly to the effect of Caitlin Clark.
After Caitlin left college, the NCAA women's tournament viewership dropped by over 10 million. That's not just a minor dip, it's a total collapse. The 2024 title game without Caitlin brought in just 8.5 million viewers. The previous year, with her on the court, the championship averaged more than 18.9 million viewers. This comparison couldn't be clearer or fairer. It was literally the same event, against the same team in the same scenario. Without Caitlin, it wasn't even close. Then, as I mentioned earlier, Paige Bueckers signed a 3-year deal with Unrivaled, and some media figures instantly labeled it as groundbreaking for the league, suggesting it would drastically boost women's basketball viewership. But let's be real, Unrivaled didn't exactly set the world on fire.
Defined as a person.
Unrivaled, the player-led off-season league spearheaded by Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart, invested nearly $9 million in player salaries. Yet for their entire inaugural season, they managed to attract only 11.9 million total viewers across all games. Compare that with Caitlin Clark's recent teaser clip from her collaboration with Dude Perfect, which alone has surpassed 12 million views, a single teaser clip outperforming an entire league's season. And given what we've already seen with Paige Bueckers and NCAA March Madness viewership, it's tough to imagine she could command anything close to the attention Caitlin has consistently drawn. The numbers are already speaking loudly and clearly. Now I have to pause right here and make something very clear. While it's confirmed, done, Paige Bueckers is not going to be Caitlin Clark. That's completely okay. Or at least it should be.
How about number one to start with? she's not nearly the player that Caitlin Clark is.
Paige had a stellar college career, and she's undeniably a phenomenal player. But she never was Caitlin Clark to begin with, and that's perfectly fine. They're simply not the same player. They never were, and they never needed to be. Stats can lie, or at least they don't always tell the full story. It's absolutely true that Paige Bueckers was an incredible college player. In fact, incredible might be underselling it. As a freshman at UConn, she won basically every award imaginable. We're talking Naismith Player of the Year, First Team All-American honors, and she led her team in points, assists, and steals. Paige was clutch under pressure, she had a silky smooth jumper, and her court vision was exceptional. She was, and still is, unquestionably legit. Nobody is doubting Paige Bueckers' talent or accomplishments. But here's the thing. Sometimes you can have two players who are both undeniably great, but one of them simply has that extra something special, that elusive star quality that goes beyond stats and wins. It's the kind of intangible magnetism that captures the imagination, fills arenas, and makes people who've never watched a game tune in. Caitlin Clark is exactly that kind of player. Paige Bueckers, as outstanding as she is, simply doesn't possess that same highlight reel explosiveness that Caitlin has brought to basketball. Paige is an excellent basketball player, but Caitlin Clark? She's something we've truly never seen before.
There is almost zero similarities to how they play other than their position. Paige Bueckers is obsessed with efficiency. Caitlin Clark plays with flair.
With Caitlin, the second she crosses half court, you're instantly on the edge of your seat, because you know anything can happen. She might casually pull up from the logo and drain a three from another zip code. She might thread an impossible no-look pass right through three defenders, catching even her teammates by surprise. Paige Bueckers' style, while incredibly effective and smooth, is a bit more traditional. She's the definition of efficiency, a precise mid-range assassin, a polished and intelligent playmaker. Paige's game is about finesse, fundamentals, and consistent execution. But she isn't regularly bombing from 30 feet or dropping routine 40-point explosions. Paige is refined excellence. Caitlin is must-see TV. Sometimes basketball isn't just about who won which award or who averaged what stats. Sometimes it's about the story being told on the court, the style, the swagger, the drama of each moment. Caitlin led the nation in scoring, delivered multiple 40-point masterpieces in March Madness, and shattered records for three-pointers made, all while playing with the kind of visible passion and swagger that instantly draws you in. She plays like she's putting on a show, fist pumps after big shots, chirping confidently at opponents, hyping up crowds into a frenzy. At the end of the day, the WNBA, and every sports league for that matter, isn't in the business of ensuring every talented player receives equal fan support. It's in the business of entertainment. Sports are entertainment, whether purists like it or not. And Caitlin Clark? She is pure entertainment. That's the enormous miscalculation all these haters, critics, and overthinkers make when they try to reduce Caitlin's popularity purely to identity politics. They're completely ignoring one fundamental truth. Fans flock to what excites them, to what's genuinely fun. The NBA figured this out ages ago. The league didn't skyrocket in popularity because it made sure every efficient, fundamentally sound player got equal shine. It blew up because of electrifying stars like Michael Jordan, who made you stop everything you were doing just to watch him play. Jordan was must-see TV precisely because he performed feats no one else could, with an unmatched flair, charisma, and competitive fire. Did fans complain he was hogging too much of the spotlight, while other deserving players quietly toiled in relative obscurity? Of course not, because watching Jordan was simply thrilling. The same was true with Kobe, LeBron, Steph Curry. It didn't matter their background or identity. They were magnetic. They had that special it factor that draws viewers in. Caitlin brought exactly that type of electricity to the women's game. Her impact goes far beyond just being efficient or fundamentally sound. She delivers entertainment, excitement, and spectacle in a way that few, if any, have ever matched in women's basketball. And guess what? More players like Caitlin will eventually come along, bringing their own unique styles and excitement to the sport. In fact, if you want my honest opinion, it's not even Paige Bueckers who has the best shot at captivating audiences next. It's actually this year's second overall pick who might just have a better chance at truly electrifying the fans.
With the second pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Seattle Storm select Dominique Malunga from France.
Dominique Malunga is 6 feet 6 inches and can dunk effortlessly. And we're not talking barely getting over the rim dunks. She throws it down consistently and with authority. Some scouts and fans are already calling her the WNBA's Wemby, referencing NBA sensation Victor Wembanyama. Now that is exactly the kind of groundbreaking, never-before-seen talent the WNBA needs. Imagine something we've truly never witnessed consistently in women's basketball. A perfectly executed alley-oop or a thunderous, rim-rattling dunk in traffic that brings the entire arena to its feet. Dominique Malunga has the physical tools to make that happen night after night, changing the perception of what's possible in women's hoops. Now picture this alongside Caitlin Clark, the elite playmaker with pinpoint vision, launching highlight reel passes and deep threes from anywhere on the court. No, they won't be on the same team, but having a powerful, athletic forward center capable of dominating opponents in the paint and finishing above the rim is a godsend for the league, giving it a 1-2 punch delivering can't-miss television. It's about bringing genuine entertainment to women's basketball. And honestly, I'm hoping it happens, because at the end of the day, fans tune in to be entertained. And when it does, it'll prove definitively what fans truly care about. They don't care about identity or background. They care about talent. They crave electrifying play, jaw-dropping athleticism, and highlight reel dominance. That's what brings new viewers to the sport and keeps them coming back for more. Fundamental basketball and competence may win you championships, but it's spectacle, excitement, and star power that make people want to tune in every single night.
Bounce. Clark bounces off of Bueckers out of bounds with just 1/10 of a second remaining. What a brilliant play by Clark, and there is barely any time left.
So, yeah, Paige Bueckers, as much as the media, the league, or anyone else might desperately wish otherwise, simply won't be Caitlin Clark. She never will be. And deep down, the WNBA's general managers know it. The insiders know it. Anyone who truly understands basketball knows it. But here's the important thing. Paige is still going to be great for the league. She's an incredible player with a fantastic resume, and the WNBA absolutely should hype her up and build excitement around her arrival. College women's basketball right now is substantially more popular than the pro game, so converting those passionate fans from college to the WNBA is crucial. Paige Bueckers will absolutely help in that process. She's a genuine star in her own right. And honestly, the league should also lean in on the Angel Reese and Hailey Van Lith reunion storyline, especially because it was hilarious watching HVL grit her teeth through interview questions about teaming up again with Reese. Anything that pulls in college fans to look at the WNBA is a positive. The WNBA needs all of it. But let's be clear. Until another player emerges who genuinely dazzles fans with electrifying talent and a magnetic style of play, someone who truly captivates crowds, people are going to continue to say and do anything to close the massive popularity gap between Caitlin Clark and everyone else. Unfortunately, some of these attempts to elevate other players end up taking cheap shots at Caitlin or her passionate fanbase, the very fans who are accelerating the league's growth in unprecedented ways. That's not just unfair, it's counterproductive and destructive to the WNBA's broader image and long-term goals. This upcoming season is only going to reinforce even further that Caitlin Clark is on an entirely different level. She's not just another star player. She's like Neo. She's the one. She's the face of the league, the one moving the needle, the player capturing imaginations and making women's basketball worth watching. The haters, detractors, and doubters would be smart to recognize this, step back, and simply let the brilliance of Caitlin's spotlight shine on the entire league. Take advantage of the opportunities her presence creates instead of fighting against it. If you're still here, drop a basketball emoji in the comments. Thanks for watching.